All right, so we're back here on another Overreaction Monday. It is once again probably, hey, it's Monday. It's a Monday, a day that we always normally dread, but hey, we're here. Overreaction Monday, where we'll recap our thoughts on Week 8 of the NFL season. I got my guy, another off the ball network colleague of mine, and about to cook up some stuff in the kitchen with my boy Rob from the Football and Chill podcast.
What's going on, Chris?
It's a Washington football Overreaction Monday. Obviously, I guess can we consider this a victory Monday, considering the fact we're coming off a bad week.
It wasn't a loss, so we'll take it.
Correct, and we're still in the thick of it in the NFC East. So I'll definitely take that. Take it as a victory Monday at this point.
Absolutely.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, man, let's get right to it, man. So, Week 8 of the NFL season. Who was your biggest winner this week?
Oh, hands down, it has to be Dak. Dak, even though he's hurt, he's done for the season. He has got to be the biggest winner so far. For the simple fact that that defense kind of sort of looked competent yesterday. They had a few turnovers. They played decent enough that, I mean, I'd be hard pressed to think that if Dak wasn't in that, or if Dak was in that game, that he would have been able to win that game.
Man, yeah, it was ugly yesterday. I mean, and it's funny as even being a bit of rivals, it's almost like, damn, I have somewhat of a low key kind of a little bit sympathetic for him, a little bit, like maybe 5 or 10%, 5 or 10% as 5 to 10%, but nothing crazy.
You're a better person than I am, then.
But I was like, God, they look horrible last night. And then just poor Ben DiNucci, man, he just, and people keep on saying he's not ready for prime. Like, and even if nobody would have been ready. Dak wouldn't have been ready the way that line has been. No one would have been theoretically ready in that type of moment. And it's just a situation where, hey, it's just gonna be it's a tough year for them. And I mean, hey, ain't nothing wrong with that. We've endured it, so hey, y'all be all right. Exactly. I think my biggest winner this week has got to be the Cincinnati Bengals. I think this is going to be a victory, them being a quality playoff team in Tennessee, which I think this is going to be one of the type of wins where Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals can move forward with, as far as just getting the momentum going to the month of November. So I look at it from that standpoint of, like, I think that's going to be a great situation for them. But I just like it. I mean, I like what they did. And then the thing about what Joe Burrow was, and what's scary about it is, I mean, he had somewhat of a solid, somewhat game. He only had 249 yards, like compared to 400 yards last week against Cleveland. So to me, for him to get it done in that type of, in those type of stats was great for him. And then I just look at that Cincinnati. They're a nice young up and coming team.
Yeah.
And then I like like I always talked about T. Higgins. I talked about him in the summer. And now he's kind of coming to his own to fruition of how I kind of envision him and Burrow being somewhat of a 1-2 punch. But I'm telling you, I really like the Cincinnati team going forward. Like, this is a situation where I don't think necessarily they're gonna win, as far as go to playoffs, because obviously the AFC North is just so thick, even to the point where I think even though I don't like to put Cleveland in there, but they are theoretically, just record wise, we're just looking at it from today's standpoint. But I really, really like this Cincinnati Bengals team going forward, and it's just going to get them great momentum. And Tennessee kind of went back down to earth, but this is a classic example of Any Given Sunday where we can sit down and say, hey, well, this should have been like the lopsided matchup of the week besides the Jets and the Chiefs, but hey, they got it done. And these are type of moments, like we even kind of, not to put it in a Washington football perspective, but these are the type of games that we envision going down the stretch where you see somewhat like flashes and you see something positive coming out of each week in some kind of way where you can find somewhat of a silver lining and attach it with a win. But
right.
We'll see. Hopefully that does happen for us. But yeah, man. So we talked about the good. Let's talk about that bad. So who are your biggest losers this week?
Biggest loser this week, I think, is has to be Bill Belichick. I mean,
Ooh.
his L becomes bigger and bigger every week because that we sat here for 20 years debating, was it the system or was it the quarterback? Can the quarterback thrive in a different system? Can the system thrive with any quarterback? And we truly thought that Stidham would be serviceable, that he'd be able to get them to a solid 9-7, maybe a 10-6, and be fighting for a playoff spot,
Yeah.
if not the division. And then they went and signed Cam Newton, and at that point they were like, oh, people were talking about, myself included, talking about, okay, they're in the driver's seat to win the division again, and they look worse and worse every year. While over here on down south, Tom Brady's looking better and better. He's getting more weapons and more weapons every week. So I mean, Bill Belichick has got to be taking L's every single week that they lose, and Tom Brady continues to ball out.
Yeah, and it's so crazy to think that they're 2-5, and that's crazy to think going to November. It used to be the other way around in the inverse.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we,
Right.
and it's what's funny is when we did see you Sunday, another off the ball production. Shout out to our guy Stephen Gillespie breaking the game for the brainchild of that. But we said it's funny because I think a couple of us had, well, not me, but as far as the network, how we had some people had New England winning over Buffalo, and we looked at that and was like, that's the upset of the week. And it's so funny to think like we're sitting here and the Bills are the favorite. A team that hasn't won a division since I think 1995, and it's crazy, and it's just crazy to sit there and think about it, and then it's just, and a part of you is like, you don't want to give them excuses in a sense with New England, but as far as the opt outs, then the injuries, but still, you look at even. And the thing about that team is they always won without. Like they always won without the weapons. They won like at one point where Troy Brown, the wide receiver, was a DB at one time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, all these type of situations where, we looked at guys who, we looked at as like, like guys like, I mean, they've always had like a system where guys, that we don't know, but they emerge, like the Malcolm Butlers of the world, all kinds of guys, Deion Branch, Super Bowl MVP, what I'm saying? So the part of you want to kind of get an excuse, but the part of at the end of the day, it's still, you would definitely thought that this team would have done something at this point.
Yeah.
But but for them to be 2-5 and I just really, really feel bad for Cam. I really sincerely feel bad for him because to me, and I think Jeff, one of our other colleagues, Jeff from Jeff Needs Sports, he also I think he was saying how he looked at a situation where in a few weeks we may never see Cam Newton as a starting quarterback in the NFL again.
Right.
Which is especially when you look at from that standpoint of how we was killing other teams and saying, well, why are you not picking up Cam Newton? Why are you not picking him up? And then now it's like, okay, well, even the $1 million that he got from the Patriots looking like dag, like, did they overpay for him? That's how most people will look at that acquisition now in theory. But I mean, it's just such a crazy time. I mean, the Patriots are 2-5. Somebody would have told me November 2nd, 2019. Oh yeah, New England Patriots will be 2-5 this time next year. I'd been like, nah,
Crazy.
You crazy because Bill Belichick was gonna find a way.
Right. And that's always been his thing for the last 20 years is, less is more. He doesn't need the high price receivers, the high price backs. He's winning. He won with, like you said, Deion Branch. He made a name out of Julian Edelman, Rex Burkhead, Dion Lewis. Where's Dion Lewis been in the last 4 or 5 years? So the fact that that's what he is known for, that's what we always touted them as why he's so great. And maybe it was the quarterback. Maybe it was Tom Brady that made the system.
Yeah, and that's what I find it funny about all this is because I remember week one they were in role reversal where Tom Brady looked bad, and the
Yeah.
Patriots looked okay because they won. I think was 22-11 to Miami, and everybody was looking at him like, well, the Patriots gonna win without him. But then you seeing what Tom is doing now with him having weapons, and then now, and what's scary about that team in Tampa is they're playing good football now in November, and then add the acquisition of a guy like Antonio Brown to that lineup, where you're like, it's just going to be very, very interesting. And that's one thing too when you look at it and you just see it from a, you know, as far as looking into a crystal ball for this team, it's looking very promising for Tampa, big time. New England, the total opposite.
Yeah.
But my biggest loser is gotta be the Los Angeles Chargers. I cannot like. I always say this. I think I can make the case for San Diego / Los Angeles. For the last like 10 years, it's something about them I can never put my head around this team. Like 1 year I can predict them to be like 4-12. They'll be like 12-4. Last year I had them going to the Super Bowl. They ended up finishing with like 4-12.
Yeah.
Like all and that's the thing too. And then this is another one where them coming off a great win last week against Jacksonville, and then this situation going into actually they, with like 7 minutes to go in the third quarter of this game, they were up by 21 points. They was up 24-3 and lost by a point, 31-30 to their, I guess you could say, AFC West rivalries, the Denver Broncos at this point, because I think they're
the two bottom feeders. So.
Yeah, the two bottom feeders, and that's another thing that tripped me out. It's just like, and I just feel so bad about the situation because now everybody's calling for Anthony Lynn's head, and I'm like, I want him to stay. I definitely want him to stay around. Just the fact that he's just so well respected in this league. He even to a point he to me, if you make Rex Ryan cry, you're doing something like that goes beyond the field of play as far as your impact on someone's life.
Yeah.
So, part of me is just like, for them to lose in that spot was just really, really terrible. And I'm like, man, you can't. Those type of games, you cannot lose the game. I mean, and it's just weird how, but they've always done these things where it's like they have questionable losses, somewhat weird kind of wins. Like, it's so crazy. Like, all this stuff. And then even, just to go, this has been a trend, I want to say at least for the last about 10 years. 'Cause I remember, like, it's something about this Chargers team is just so bizarre to me. Because I remember one year, I think it was like 2010 or 2000, I think they led the league in offense and didn't make the playoffs. Like, I don't know if you remember that year, but I mean, I'm telling you, this team is something beyond my comprehension. It's just like they do stuff that's just uncharacteristically weird. They're just the most unpredictable team in this league. Like, but I wouldn't say most. I mean, we obviously got the Bears, the Bears and the Colts. I think theoretically this year, but probably within if you look at from the scope from the last like decade, the early the mid 2000s and the 20 teens, and going forward, you're like, it's puzzling.
But I think I know what year you're talking about, where they had the number one offense, the number one defense.
Yeah, that's right. And the number one defense. That's right. It didn't make the playoffs.
And didn't make the playoffs because their special teams were just horrendous.
Yeah.
Yep, I remember.
Yeah. That's what I'm like, man. And I was like, and that's so crazy. I was thinking to myself, like, man, this is just bizarre of a team, but I think by far they're the biggest losers. I think most teams would kind of like expect it. Like, I know a lot of people saying like Tennessee, yeah, that's a bad loss. But to me, I think if you're up by 21 points in the fourth quarter, I don't care who I don't care who lost this week, but to have a loss like that, especially to have that kind of lead so deep into the third quarter, where I mean, you really sit down and think about it. They had 21 point lead with probably less than like 22 minutes left in this game. Like literally.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is ridiculous. Like, and that's another thing, but I have nothing else with losers wise. I think no one compares to what they did.
Yeah, but you still got to think that's a young team, rookie quarterback.
Yeah, I get, but then Denver's just as young as them. I mean, you look at even though Drew Lock maybe had a little bit more starts than him, maybe on the surface, maybe a handful more. But still, I think even to lose like that in that type of spot, especially considering the fact coming off that win last week, because the thing with the Chargers are they've been competitive even in those losses that they've had. And I thought this was gonna be a nice little springboard for Justin Herbert to get, another consecutive win on this belt. Where you look at it now, where in most of those games, I mean, they've had heartbreaking losses, especially like matter of fact, come to speak of it, they've had pretty much double digit leads within like their last last 4 games that they've lost. Because even going back to the Monday Night Football game a few weeks ago, and like you said, I understand it's youth, but at a point where this is the fourth time this has happened. You know what I mean? So it's a part of me. And then I can understand New Orleans because New Orleans and you were on the road in New Orleans. It's just gonna happen. I mean, just like what they did with the Bears last week. I mean, what they did last night.
Mm-hmm.
That's understandable. Like the Saints, you can all right, cool. But like Denver's like on your level. Denver literally, because it was really when you look at as far as when we predicted the season, we were like, well, who was going to be kind of like that third AFC West team, and it was gonna almost like they're neck and neck, where it's like it could be 3A and 3B.
Yeah,
like it's really I didn't look at it as who was gonna be defending, and I even kind of was. Both of these teams kind of was in a weird way. It was like kind of somewhat on a weird collision course where they could have made a run, but I just think it is just very, very crazy. But so we got a special guest in the green room. We're gonna bring him on out. We got our guy Stephen Gillespie of the Breaking the Game podcast. What's up, colleague? What's up?
Oh man,
sir?
just I got wrapped up working on a project that Austin and I are working on, and realized it was after 7, and the babies are down, so I figured I'd jump on and try to get in some work today.
Yeah, man. So definitely appreciate you coming on, and we'll get you up to speed. So we just talked about our biggest losers. So Rob talked about the Bill Belichick as far as just a simple fact of, hey man, they just terrible. And then I had the LA Chargers. One of your tenant, your other tenant in your building, the LA Chargers in
the
there.
other LA team, right?
Yeah, you guys share the same building as our background is displaying, and they once again they lose a double digit lead and they lose again, but this time they had a 21-point lead and loss. So who was your biggest loser this week, Steven?
Well, I got 2 that I could really go with, but I'm going to go with the one that I think that has the most expectation, and that was the Green Bay Packers, losing the way that they did against the Minnesota Vikings, division rival. I believe Minnesota only had 1 win on the season prior to this game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So, them losing to a Minnesota team with, trading away players this year, losing players due to injury, lost, Stephon Diggs in free agency, just not much was expected. I think that we all unanimously voted for the Off the Ball Network picks. We all voted Green Bay. And to me, that's the biggest loser, right? Like if it's projected, by many experts just to kind of be a runaway game for the team, and you literally get the ball ran down your throat in a loss, and Green Bay looks like they're going to be in trouble. I've been hearing a lot of, other networks and stuff like that talking about how they're basically just a front runner, right? Like they're just good enough to be dangerous, right? But their defense is awful. Their offense is predictable. They were without Jones, obviously, so that was a little bit of a hit to their run game. But they only really have one versatile playmaker, and Minnesota was just like, stop our run, and Dalvin Cook did just that. He cooked them. So.
Yeah, man, that's another thing too, where you like that was another shocking one too. And it's this is one about them division games. They just such a toss up. And then Dalvin Cook, Dalvin Cook went off.
What a game to wake up, right? Like
correct. Like, what a way to start November. Like, my goodness, like that was crazy. And that Minnesota, that was an interesting game. I was like, wow, it is crazy.
So I just don't feel like that game got a lot of. I've heard criticism towards Green Bay, but it hasn't been anything. I think that people just expect this out of Green Bay. Like they're good, right? Like they got one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and that's really it. Like they don't really have much else out of that. So you expect them to win some games, but they're gonna drop some games that they should win, like this one. And I think that's where the lack of criticism comes in, right? But I mean, if we're going to be singing praise for their record, you know what I mean? And they lose a game that was almost assuredly to be a victory on paper, like they do need to draw, I think, more criticism than some other team. Like people are tearing apart Philadelphia and Dallas right now. Like, okay, like they are who they showed that they were what their record said they were, right? Like some kind of lower tier teams are getting torn apart, while the Packers almost, there seems like they're just getting a pass. You know what I mean? So
yeah. And I don't know, it's weird because it's like I think what's weird about it all is we killed them against Tampa Bay a few weeks ago, and then it's almost like I don't want to say we forgot about them, but like this is another one where you're like it's a head scratching loss where you're like, all right, this, especially then the timing of it when you look at now, where you're looking at just how especially how that North is kind of set up now. With even though Chicago did they did lose yesterday,
right? But
they're still nipping at their heels. Like this ain't the situation where But Green Bay, that was really, really interesting how they lost that game.
Right.
But it could be, like you said, it could be a precursor to what can happen going forward. Who knows? But trust me, I think Green Bay could probably get that little lion's share if they keep on struggling like this. I think
they got to make some moves before tomorrow, right? Like tomorrow's a big day. Like they got to. They need a receiver and they need some defensive help, and I don't know how many, of those pieces they're just going to be able to go out and get.
I don't think so. I mean, hey. Try to get something from the Jets. The Jets ain't letting everybody go. Yeah.
And Houston's not letting all their players leave anymore, right? So
shoot, they met night. Like, what's so crazy? Like,
I was talking to a buddy of mine. I'm like, man, we need to try to hustle Deshaun Watson out of Houston before they start trying to become good again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Shoot. I feel for them because now they got I cannot believe they don't have a first round pick this year. And then look how bad they are. Like
I feel terrible for Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, I do too.
He can come to LA. We got receivers and a defense. Like come be our quarterback, Deshaun. Make it happen.
Hey, you come to Washington. If you can survive in Houston, I think you have a tremendous shot.
I mean, come on. I mean, DC's no LA, right? And we got some pieces. Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna leave, come to a team that you could come and do a little something with. You know what I mean? So
I mean, I can't argue with him on. It is LA.
It is LA.
The people suck, but they have a brand new stadium. They have a competent head coach, which we do too. Now.
Yes,
but I mean, our stadium is almost 30 years old.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's
a little facelift,
It wouldn't be a hard decision to make.
Well, but I think we'll have a new stadium out there. We'll have a great stadium overlooking the Potomac, one of these
I
days.
hope so.
Yeah, when y'all
I
got
hope
Justin
so.
Fields, under center. And,
Hey, I mean, I don't know.
Hey,
At
we're
this
still
point,
focused on this year, all right?
yeah,
okay.
we're still focused on winning the
Hey,
NFC.
it's still up for the taking. It's still up for the taking.
We are here. We cannot wait to wear our 2020 NFC East Championship regalia.
How crazy would it be, right, for the
Yeah.
NFC East champions to also have a top 5 draft pick?
I mean, bro, like
Impossible.
yesterday. Well, I don't. Oh, no. It was.
only because the way they do the draft. So
Oh yeah, about the draft
once you
order.
make
That's
the
right.
playoffs, you make the playoffs, you're automatic in
That's
that
right. You
mid
slide in.
20s range.
I thought it was by record still.
Well, it's still by record, but you'll get whoever doesn't make the playoffs. That's all they go through the record.
So 16.
And then-
the teams that make it, they're okay. I see.
And
I
then-
thought it was just by record. Okay.
And then once you get bumped from the playoffs,
Then
Then it
you
goes
add.
by.
group of
Okay.
teams that lose, whoever has the worst record has the best one. So
Yeah,
that would be cool though.
I know, right?
Right.
I know because it was. Bro, I was saying at one point that I think if everybody went 3-3, and Philadelphia finished like 4-11-1, they would make the playoffs. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like I'm telling you, when I watched that last night, I was like, part of me, I don't know if I felt offended or did it make me feel somewhat kind of glad, like, God, that's all I have to do.
Mm-hmm.
It was win 5 games and potentially or 6 games, I could win this division.
Right.
Part of me is like,
But at that point, what you want to though? I mean, yeah, it's a division win, but
we got a home playoff game though. I mean,
yeah, but do you really expect? I mean, even if we were to somehow pull it off, I don't expect us to go into somewhere like Seattle because realistically, right now, that's where we. No. We wouldn't have to go to Seattle. We'd be a division winner.
well, yeah, we'd be home.
Or what if we had the Rams?
But the beautiful thing about it, Rob, is guess what? We'll be on the opposite end of history. We'll be the ones that have changed the rule. When you this would be the Washington football rule. I want to be a part of this. You know what? I keep on going back and forth about tanking for Tua or Sewell or whoever. But a part of me, I want to be a part of this history that's going to change the NFL forever. Like they're never going to have a division champion ever host a playoff game with a record like that.
You want to have the asterisk next to your name.
Yes,
is what
no,
you're saying.
I want to be the rule changer. I want to be called the Washington football rule.
Because worst case scenario for the NFL. Let's say we get in with the losing record and we pull. I think it was what Seattle did.
Seattle won.
Go in and win a playoff game or when they beat the Saints. Saints were coming off their Super Bowl win.
Right.
So
Watch the NFC East mess around and win a game though, like in the playoffs when they get in. That'd be crazy. That'd be
run too.
Right. It would be something, right? Oh man, that would be something. Get our first playoff win since what? 05, 06? No, 05, yeah.
Yeah, I was 15, coach.
Wow. Gee whiz. I'm not even going to tell you my age at that time.
He was drinking at that game.
I mean, I'm not going to say what I was doing at 15, but I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because at 2005, I was, 21. Wow.
Told you, he was drinking at that game.
Yikes. That was, wow, I was of age. Interesting. God, it's been that long. But I digress. My goodness. Now I feel old now. Thank you, Stephen, for that.
Hey, man, anything I can do to help, you know what I'm saying?
But yeah, man. So
I'm here for the squad, you know.
Absolutely. Wow, that's crazy. You was 15 in 2005. That's crazy.
Just a puppy.
What? Yo, that's crazy.
Hey man, you're the odd one out. Maybe you're crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like
perhaps. Wow. Like that was grown.
Salt and Pepper Gang.
Was grown.
That's not like too far out there. You know?
Nah, it's not. But yeah, but still, wow. That is. I mean, when you sit down and think about it, that was like 15 years ago, and you're like, oh gosh, like that's. Like when you said you was 15, I was like, nah, he lying. Like at first I was like,
Will you say I look older? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I didn't. I keep on forgetting. Like
Oh
that
yeah,
you are 30. And I
yeah.
have to keep on forgetting that, man. I'm thinking, I'm thinking like I would have been like 30. That's how I would have felt like, what I'm saying? Like, but yeah, man.
Yep.
So let's go around the horn, fellas. That's the favorite part of the show, my
Oof.
personal opinion. Overreactions for week 8. So I'm gonna go with you first, Steven. Your overreactions for week 8.
I don't know if it's overreaction. I may do underreaction. Like this whole Tua time thing, man. Like I got a lot to say about this game. I'll cut it short because I had a dog in this fight, or a ram in this fight, if you will. Tua did not win that game. Like he didn't really do much of anything. That offense was stagnant. Like we gave Miami that game, and like I know that we got some Dolphin fans in here. I know our VP Jeff. Like I know that you're smiling. I know that you're enjoying your beverage. I know that you're around the fire having a good time and all that, just minding your own business, enjoying your W, which again was earned, right? But like Jeff Goff is like the worst best quarterback in the NFL. You know what I mean? Like he's just anytime that the timing breaks down and the game is in his hands, he is awful. He is, he's just not a good quarterback. Like so much, any credit that he gets automatically needs to go towards Sean McVay, because when he looks at his best, you can definitely tell when you look at the play that everything about that play is drawn up. Like he is not one of these guys that'll bootleg out to the side and make something. Like he doesn't have that Russell Wilson factor. He doesn't have that Kyler Murray, Josh Allen factor. He doesn't have any of that creativity. Everything that he does to be productive is schemed for him, and it drives me nuts. Like I would take Carson. I've been saying this for weeks. Carson Wentz, Philadelphia, like straight up, let's trade. I mean, everybody's dogging Wentz in Philly right now. Like he needs to change the scenery. We'll give you Goff. He makes about the same amount of money. Straight up, just make it happen. But yeah, the amount of love that Tua got, and he's a likable guy. Like it's, you want the guy to be successful. You know what I mean? But like I've heard so many people say like Tua won this. Like he did not. Like not even close. Like it was like when I was on Jelani's show, about a week or so ago, when we were looking like the Lions beat the Falcons, but if you looked at all the statistical categories, like Atlanta did enough to win the game. Like LA beat them in almost every offensive category. It's just that Jared Goff is just a terrible quarterback and will fold under pressure.
Yeah, and that's one thing too. Where I know I heard a lot of that too. Was like, yeah, man, 2 of this and 2 of that. I'm like, if you look at the tape, I mean, he did okay. I mean, considering the fact this is his first start, I will give him credit. But he, like you said, he wasn't the guy who essentially, because like you said, y'all dominated just about everything. Like first down. I'm actually looking at stats now.
Conversion
third down efficiency. Total yard, bro.
Yeah.
That's 145 total yards compared to y'all 470.
Special teams and defense, like that's what it was. It wasn't anything that the offense did. It was, that freaking Grant is one of the best special teams guys that like never gets talked about out of Miami. I think it was like an 88-yard return, if I'm not mistaken, like close to 90. Right. Just everyone just repelled off of him like water on a windshield. It was just. And again, like you can't be mad at Tua because you want him to, have a success story. Like the image of him sitting on the field when he got into the game, and Fitzmagic was getting the crowd into it and all that. Like you want him to be successful, but like let's take it in moderation. You know what I mean? Like it's a good W. Like I like Miami. I like Flores. I love what they're doing. I'm like low key becoming a Miami fan, but like Tua did not win this game.
Yeah, I think throwing for 93 yards, you didn't do it. Like I mean,
that's what kills me so much about that loss is like we we played for them. It felt like, you know what I mean? Like we did them a favor, and it drove me nuts. Golf needs to go. He's literally what's killing the team. It's Golf.
Rob, your overreactions for this week.
I've been waiting for this. I've been wanting to say this for a while.
Yes, you have.
In 15 years, when it's all said and done, DK Metcalf will be the best wide receiver in the history of the NFL.
Baby bro?
Baby Braun gonna be the GOAT. He gonna be the GOAT. The Braun isn't.
So wait, so better than Randy Moss,
He'll be better than Randy Moss,
better than
Chris Carter, better
Terrell
than Jerry
Owens,
Rice, better than T.O.,
Jerry
better than
Rice,
Calvin Johnson.
Larry Fitzgerald.
He is what Calvin Johnson. He will be what Calvin Johnson should have been.
Oh.
If Calvin Johnson had gone to a competent team, a competent franchise, with competent coaches, Calvin Johnson would have been the best receiver in the history of the game. Unfortunately, his career and his talent was wasted in Detroit, just like many other talents, just like Barry Sanders' talent. DK Metcalf is what Calvin Johnson should have been. And DK Metcalf will be the best wide receiver to ever play this game.
Wow. Wow.
I like DK.
Wow.
That's what kills
I like
me.
DK.
I really, he's on my fantasy team. I love him to death. He got me almost 40 points this week. Like, he's the best ever. Like, that's
Wow. That's
I mean, this is Overreaction Monday. I mean,
yeah, you really
Because here's the thing.
yeah.
After being very outside of the Buda Baker chase down, his name didn't get called a lot in the game against Arizona. And how does he respond? Just in the first half alone, 6 catches, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns.
what was crazy was he was 6 for 6, like didn't drop anything.
Yeah.
I wrote on Twitter, I was like, he's on some Moss stuff today.
And on his first touchdown, caught it left hash, ran all the way to the right sideline and up the sideline to score.
Yeah.
He has the size, he has the speed, he has the hands, he has the work ethic.
Prez, oh my God.
Right. Yeah, you got Chris over here.
He is what Calvin Johnson
OMGs.
should have been.
Wow.
I mean, I like DK, so like I don't want to like go in too hard. I'm just saying, like, that would be cool if he did, you know, because like he's, like you said, he's got the size. He's still learning. Like, he didn't even learn how to run routes until like this year. It was crazy. He's got one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's playing on a high-powered offense, and he's got other receiver. He's got at least another receiver around him. That way, he can't just get double teamed all game long. So that plays into it as well. I mean, I'm not going to say that it's impossible. I just would say that it's unlikely based on who has already played the game, and there's so much that we haven't seen. But I mean, for Overreaction Monday, I mean, I can't.
And we're in a very, very pass heavy league,
Right.
where quarterbacks are throwing 30, 40, 50 times a game.
Mm-hmm.
So if he's
And Jerry Rice still owns all those records.
right.
Yeah. And Stephen Howell's point, basically, you can't double team him either.
It was just a freak of nature.
Rob, I tell you, hey, I know last week the foul alarm went off. I'm that's why I'm in looking Larry like, all right now, like, don't let this foul alarm go off again. Like, I'm gonna jump out this window this time.
How are you gonna top that, Coach?
I don't know, man, but I think this one takes it. Like, wow.
And there's a hint of realistic possibility in there too. That's what's like.
Yeah, it could be a possibility. And like you said, if he does have this ability, if he's in a situation like he is in Seattle, where Russ thinks he's gonna play until he's 45, so he's got 14, 15 more years left. And if he's coupled with DK, and like you said, and he's in the organization that's still that's stable, hey, the sky's the limit for Baby Braun.
Is Pete Carroll still the coach in 50? Like, I mean, how long does he got Pete Carroll?
I don't know.
Oh,
Pete Carroll. I don't know. Even though Pete Carroll, he's 70 now, ain't he?
That's what I'm saying. Like, how?
But he acts like he's 50-something years old. Right.
I mean,
He's out
That's
there.
that's all well and good. I'm just saying 15 years is a long time. We just got done talking about how long 05 was. And
I
what we
know
were doing
that was a
15
lifetime
years.
ago. Like, right. But like you said, that's a thing too. Where I think, especially if him and Russ can stay together for a good maybe realistically, I would give him maybe 10 years because I mean at least Russ will be like 41, 42 ish potentially.
And Pete will be like 81, 82 ish. Like
yeah,
and
and
then
then
hitting his his 50s.
And then what's scary about DK is if he gets to that point, he would. And then even if Russ leaves in 10 or I say about 10 or 11 years, he can still have a second act somewhere. Yeah. You know, even at 32, 33 years old, he can have a second act.
Hey, and there ain't a quarterback in the league that ain't going to want to throw on the ball. You know what I mean?
Right.
And check this out too. They already gave Russ the big contract. So the cap space is only going to go up. You don't really have to worry about paying Russell Wilson again. I mean, you might have to give him another little 3-4 year deal, but at that point he'll be on the decline. So you won't have to give him as much, and you can focus that cap space to DK.
Yeah,
make sure he stays and still.
That kid might reset the market.
Perhaps. Oh, he definitely will. And the thing about Pete Carroll is he's very good with managing that defense.
I mean, not this year.
It's not terrific right now.
It's like worse in the league as far as yards given up.
Yeah, so we got another special guest here. I don't know if you're going to – I think he's probably going to bust your chops though, Rob, potentially. But you just be – we got our press, Chris LeBron in the building. What's up, man?
Oh, man. All those G's. What's up, Press?
You gonna get it, Rob? Or what we going to do today?
You going to school him on how good Calvin was?
I was just chilling, watching the show, enjoying you guys live. I hear the craziest thing that I've heard in a long time.
It's Overreaction Monday, bro.
Yeah.
I know it's overreact. Yeah, in a week and a half, because Rob, he's good for one a week.
Hey, if nothing else.
Oh, we're talking about the Hall of Fame?
The Hall of Fame. I mean,
listen,
DK's that guy. DK's like, I didn't think he was, coming out of Ole Miss, I was more high on A.J. Brown. I thought A.J. Brown was a better route runner. He would translate better in the game today, but obviously, we were wrong. I mean, AJ's still good, but DK.
Oh yeah, AJ is not a slouch.
But I know it's Overreaction Monday, but damn. Damn. It's hard to say to project to say he's gonna be the GOAT.
You're right.
Already.
You're right. It is extremely hard to project that, but again, it is overreaction, and I do just what.
But there's also a path that it could be real.
No,
potentially.
Listen,
yeah,
that path because he's special. Like he's a Madden created player, right? He's 6'4".
He's couch coach.
He's couch coach.
Facts.
Playing Madden in 04,
Facts.
It's crazy. But listen, I love DK. I hope he goes to that path. But it is like you said, it is Overreaction Monday, and Cruz is always good for one of these crazy takes, and So
at least this one wasn't that bad.
He did say
there's a dash of like, hey, this could really happen in there.
Yeah. It's better than the Ryan Fitzpatrick's going to be a Hall of Fame take. So
not going to be. Should be as a contributor.
What, like the Writers Hall of Fame? Like that's the contributors.
No, you know how like broadcasters will go in
contributing to interceptions.
Yeah, contributing to people
to be in the bridge. To be in the bridge.
Yeah.
He's a bridge quarterback Hall of Fame. If it was a bridge quarterback Hall of Fame, he would.
I'll give you that. First class bridge quarterback Hall of Fame. Yes,
they got like these little niches that we just gonna put people in.
Right. It's like, then what kind of? Because he can't get a gold jacket for that. He got to have some type of. It got to be a different color for that.
Yeah, like a brown jacket or
something, right?
Like a gray a gray jacket.
It's just gonna be a beard. It's
a hoodie,
a giant beard jacket,
a gray hoodie.
Thanks. But yeah, man. So Chris, what's your overreactions for this week?
Overreactions for this week? You know what?
Yeah.
since Cruz got a little spicy, I might spice it up right here.
Okay.
I think Belichick's a massively overrated coach, and that Brady was the pioneer of the dynasty. I've been saying that for a minute, and I truly believe it. That I'll give the credit to Brady, more credit to Brady than I do to Belichick, and that's what I'm going with. I'm sticking with that. Listen, Belichick, don't get me wrong, Belichick's a good coach, but man, life without 12 is different. It's different, So I'm going with that. That's I've been feeling that, Listen, he struggled before he had Tom, right? That season started 0-2, right? Everything, he might have got fired if Tom Brady doesn't save that season, So I've been staying with that for a while. Belichick has not drafted well, doesn't know how to draft wide receivers. He could have had DK. He took the kill Harry.
People like to kill that. Like, that's what drives me nuts about that take is like a lot of people, a lot of people.
But not like AJ Brown and
you just said that you didn't like DK. You just said that you didn't like DK.
I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about general. Like, people liked DK more than they like freaking Nikhil Harry, and AJ Brown was better. And McLaurin, like, who's better, McLaurin or Nikhil Harry? Like, McLaurin's way better than his, and Deebo Samuel. Like, there's a bunch of receivers he could have took, and he took freaking Nikhil Harry, who was probably like the 6th, 7th best receiver, and he took him in the first round. So, I mean, he's never been drafted receivers good. His draft record has been shady, especially of late. It hasn't been good. He's relied on 12 a lot to cover a lot of those mistakes. And now look, I know he had guys leave for COVID. They opted out of the season. I get it.
80% of the defense is gone.
But
and that was a historic level performing defense last season. And
I mean, in the beginning of the season when they were playing the Jets and all these trash teams, and then they got exposed of late. So, but that's my take. I think Belichick's a little overrated as a coach. So,
then how come with Brady last season they missed the playoffs then, or they lost the wild card game? Excuse me.
Yeah, they lost Tennessee. Yeah.
They lost to Tennessee with Brady, the GOAT.
That's okay. Yeah, I know. They didn't have a lot of weapons and all that, but guess what? They're not doing this year. They're not making the playoffs.
Well, it's because Brady made sure that there wasn't a plan B available.
They don't have. They're deep doo-doo.
Yeah, and that's something, and it's funny because we talked about that in the beginning of the show, because we looked at, because New England was always that team that made a way, that kind of made. So that's another thing too. When we talk about like the Malcolm Butlers of the world, all these type of other guys have been there, and you're like, they kind of create that. And a part of me, you like you said, even going to your point, Stephen, we kind of talked about that too, where the opt-outs, yeah, it is, when you lose like a Patrick Chung, and you do lose like a
McCourty, and
McCourty, yeah, you lose them, yes, and that's gonna be most teams. But I thought, especially with Bill Belichick, he was always the one that made me look at it from a situation where he can make anything, he can make do with anything, anybody.
Supposed to be a guru.
A genius, he was supposed to be the one, and that's another thing too, where like it's just caught up with him. I think, in my personal opinion, and my biggest overreaction is their 11-year run of this division is over, and I think it's going to be over for quite some time.
Well, I got quite.
The Dolphins, the Bills are coming. I mean, we don't want to talk about the other team. The other team don't count, but the Dolphins and the Bills.
They travel Lawrence away. They travel Lawrence away from.
But who do they have around him? Like he's gonna be Sam Darnold all over again. And
they got.
Sam Darnold had an Adam Gase in his way, so.
Yeah, so they got to get rid of the head coach first.
Oh, they will, and they will.
Because you've seen what Adam Gase did with folks like Ryan Tannehill, and now Ryan Tannehill is like balling out of control in Tennessee. Right. So, Chris, I got a question for you about this Belichick thing. I just think that
exactly
you have to have lemons to make lemonade, right? So like, there's no lemons right now in New England right now. How do you feel about Greg Popovich? How do you feel about Greg Popovich in San Antonio? Was he an overrated coach?
Was he an overrated coach? No, not an overrated coach. He's one of the best coaches ever.
Right, but like he's missed the playoffs, right? Like his team doesn't look the same. You know what I mean? Like you have to have something. You know what I mean? Like even Brady, as great as he is, and I'm not knocking Brady. I'm not saying that he wasn't a big part of the dynasty. I'm just saying that like even Brady with that team last season, he was one of the best to ever do it. No credit taken away from him. Like even he struggled in the wild card as great as he is with
but
this team.
I mean, look at the weapons they have. He has no one to work with. That's Belichick's issue, is that he doesn't want to upgrade. He keeps trading away guys because he's so cheap. He doesn't want to pay
picks.
guys. And Chandler Jones and all that. Like you just mentioned, Chandler Jones. Like, why do you trade a pass rusher like that? Like, why are you doing stuff like that to prove it? Like, and let's face it, Tom Brady has been filled a lot of these holes, right? He wanted to trade Gronk in all these years. Like, he wants to trade Brady.
And he takes pay cuts too. Well, he did until this year.
Yeah. He got Cam Newton for $1 million. That's the only reason why he got Cam Newton, because he got him for nothing. You know, right. So he keeps getting away with this because he's had Tom to help him win championships, but you can't do that now because now you got to build a roster. Right? He doesn't want. I'm sure he didn't want to pay Gilmore all that money. Now he wants to trade him 2 years later. Like,
well, it's because like if you sign Gilmore, like what does that do for your defense overall? Nothing. Like you still got so many holes to fill. So it's like, why pay this dude all this money to not have a competitive team? You know what I mean? Like I think that Bill right now is acknowledging, look, like we have to reboot. You know what I mean? Like he'll probably never come out and say this because he's like the competitor's competitor, right? But like, all these people not playing, he's probably looking to trade away some of his best players. He doesn't have a quarterback really outside of Newton, who we forget caught COVID. So we also need to make up our minds, like, is COVID for real or is it not? Because if it's for real, then we can't be dogging Cam Newton's quarterback play because we don't know the long-term effects.
He is playing, though. So if he's playing and he's fine, then you got to judge what he's doing on the field.
But he also,
his first season,
right? Like I get that too, but like I'm also saying that like he did catch COVID, and we don't know all the effects of COVID. So like we can't say that it's solely because he forgot how to play quarterback. You know what I mean? Like we also need to give, in my opinion, we need to give.
He's had these issues with with his passing, before everything happened. Like this has been a struggle of his. He hasn't looked the same. He had the one good game in Miami, the opening day, and everyone was like, "Oh, he's back," and then like, all right,
if Brady didn't have these weapons last year, and Cam is no Brady, you know what I mean? Then like, what are we really expecting of Cam Newton to do if Brady couldn't advance in the wild card game with basically the same team with the worst defense? Then what can we expect a COVID-19 contracting Cam Newton to do with this team? You know what I mean?
But it's funny. It's almost kind of in a weird way. He was like, what's funny about it is because we always figured, well, Bill Belichick will make a way.
Right.
Like he'll take anybody. Like he would take anybody and turn them into whatever. Like,
which is crazy. Like the thing.
But that's the thing about it, where that's why people praise him so much. And now we're at a point where maybe the praise shouldn't be so high as we can of, because he made way for anybody. Like Matt Castle. Matt Castle was 11-5, even though they didn't make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. But that's another thing too, where he turned all these guys that we never knew into like not household names, but bona fide NFL players. Like
Deion Branch. Like look at what he did with Deion Branch,
the Super Bowl MVP. Mm-hmm. We talked about one time was
or
before.
Brady did with him rather, as opposed to Phil, because Brady was the one throwing the ball. Right,
Brady should have won Super Bowl MVP.
Right, Troy Brown was playing defensive back at once upon a time in his career.
Yeah. I mean, and again, like I'm not taking away from Tom Brady. Like he's best quarterback of all time. Like just hands down is. I'm just like that. We also need to look at what Bill Belichick has dealt in his hand right now, and he is the general manager. So you're right, Chris. A lot of it is his fault.
He's not a good general manager,
right? I would say that's probably the better assessment as the general manager as opposed to the coaching side.
But then, so then will Kraft say, "Hey, I gotta bring somebody in to take care of these GM duties"?
Then he'll leave.
He'll leave. And see, that's the thing where, and it kind of go back to and it's funny how all this is really circling around, because essentially, just like I got Stephen Howell's point where essentially I put it back up, where essentially Belichick look at it from a standpoint of, hey, if you fit the scheme, I don't care, I can get you for for a bag of chips.
Yeah, and that's the general manager talking right there.
Right.
Yeah, not the coach.
Right.
I've never liked that. I don't like
that either.
GMs because then they just get in the way of each other, right? We saw it with Doc Rivers, right? And with the Clippers. Like those things don't intertwine. You can't be the coach and then be the GM because then you're just gonna your head's thinking as a coach, but then you got to think as a GM too because you got to think about the cap and all this and all that. So like,
and then you're being criticized for your coaching abilities because you're a bad general manager too, right?
So GM, right? And like that just messes you up. So that's why I never understood why they allow that. Like it just shouldn't happen, but they allow because he's won, so I get it. But it's different times now. It's you don't have the luxury of having a quarterback that can help fill a lot of the holes that you have. Of not having a strong running game where he could throw short passes. You don't have that anymore, right? Different offense too, right? You have a different quarterback now. They have to figure out is Cam going to be here next year? Are we going to have to draft a quarterback? They got to figure out a lot of things, which is something they haven't done in 20 years. Now, like they really got to think about things for the future, for sure.
Yeah, and that's why he's saying. And can Bill Belichick handle that as far as being able to build like that on the fly? And I think if he continues that, that's going to kind of, to me, if he rebuilds his team in the same capacity, then now the praise will go up, and then you look at it from that standpoint. But now, present day, as everything constructed, it's not looking good. And can he ride the ship? And he hasn't had a track record of that. Like you said, because Tom Brady is the ultimate deodorant. He made everything smelled great. But
hands down.
Now, it ain't roses no more.
He hasn't drafted well. Look at his drafts.
Right, like you said, right.
Future. Right. It's not been good. And then he trades then you draft a Chandler Jones and all that, and then he trades them because he doesn't want to pay them. When you need pass rusher, that's the one position you're like, all right, we'll pay the pass rusher because you need pass rushers, right? And he doesn't pay them. And then what happens in the Super Bowl against the Eagles? He don't have a Chandler Jones. So that's what they needed, Chandler Jones to win that. Yeah. See, and that's my issue with Belichick the whole time is like, you're relying so much on Tom to fill these holes, but you could have won a couple more Super Bowls if you stop trading guys because you don't want to pay them. I just don't understand that. I never understood, especially Chandler Jones. I never understood why that boy can play. I know he's injured now, but he's a baller. He's getting 12 sacks a year. Like he's one of the best pass rushers in the league.
That never gets talked about.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's one thing if you want to trade a guard or whatever, like. He's trading tackles. He's trading pass rushers. He's trading
receivers.
Trenches, guys in the trenches.
Like all they had last year was a rookie N'Keal Harry who didn't show up, and Julian Edelman who's 30. An older Edelman, like
Elderman.
Like, that's who he has.
Yeah, dancing on Ferraris and stuff.
Yeah. No wonder Tom left for Tampa Bay. I would leave for Tampa Bay too. Look at who they have, and you get Gronk out of WWE. He was a champion.
Right?
He was 7 champ.
Yeah,
I love right. I don't blame me.
All those rappers, hell yeah, I'll leave for a year or two to try to get a cheap ring. Hell yeah, I'll do that too. Like I'm tired of dealing with Bill. And I think that's another thing was it was fatigue with him, like with Brady and them too. Like it's like I'm tired of it.
He was just ready to move out. Tired of living with dad.
Sometimes when you're with someone so long, you just gotta get out, and then that's what Tom and he just need to get out and be free and see new people, right? You see new people, like, ooh, okay, I like this, right?
Florida's kind of nice,
right? It's not nice, snowing. Right? It's not snowing. There's no nor'easter.
Like it's fun.
Snowbirds, man. Like, they're all snowbirds.
On the Jets and the Dolphins and the Bills every year, but it's like let me get a little competition. Let me go against Drew Brees and stuff. Like I think all those came in while he left.
Next week, yes, but definitely with that.
Oh yeah, and the matchup with Drew Brees.
That's going to be.
He wants revenge too after week 1 because the pick 6, and all that stuff.
Big time. So, fellas, well, put up on this week's Overreaction Monday. I'm gonna go around the horn. Game balls. Who gets this week's game ball for you, Rob?
I think this week's game ball probably have to go to. I have to say that Eagles defense.
Okay.
I mean, they showed up. I mean, given it is the Cowboys' offense lackluster, Still had Zeke, who played well early. You know, they went like 7 plays in a row. 7 plays in a row, they ran it, average I think 6.5 yards per carry on those, and then Kellen Moore just went away from the run completely altogether, which is dumb. But I mean, they did enough to do what they had to do, and they're still sitting a full game ahead of us in the division.
Steven, your game ball this week.
I mean, I'm gonna kind of ride the wave that Rob laid out earlier. I mean, DK Metcalf. I mean, like that, just coming into halftime, mossing it. You know what I mean? Like six catches on 6 targets. You know, over 100 yards receiving and a couple touchdowns. You know, almost 40 fantasy points. Like she just, and he's probably going to be the best receiver of all time, apparently. So I mean, like game ball, two game balls, you know, for his performance.
That's why I love Cruz. That's why he's part of the network.
In 15 years, when he retires,
right?
I can't wait to do the show in 15 years. We need to keep this. This is stay evergreen. We need to keep this. And go back to this in 15 years and be like, Cruz, remember when you said this?
Yeah, when we're on Pier 16 like, and we got our own studio.
Remember when I said this?
We got the studios in Bristol, and we're taking we're the new ESPN, and everyone's like, oh, remember Cruz? Like they bring it back, and they're like, Cruz, remember you said this about DK?
And be like the old ESPN videos, like we're all gonna be like bald and gray and stuff.
You see this?
I'll definitely be gray.
Oh, dude, I mean, I do too. I'm just saying,
I'll be gray
for dramatic effect.
My shit's gone, so.
But like I said,
he's holding on to it by a thread.
Yeah,
like I said though, Rob, like sprinkle of truth into that statement, though, man.
You know what's gonna be crazy is at that Hall of Fame enshrinement, he's gonna go in as a first ballot Hall of Famer, and Fitzpatrick will finally get the respect he deserves.
He's gonna give him the
as a contributor.
You know what?
He'll still be playing.
Fitzpatrick will be in his gray hoodie. Fitzpatrick will be in his gray hoodie that says Hall of Fame and spray paint on the back, like NWO style. And he's going to be giving the golden jacket to Metcalf.
Fitzpatrick's going to be a player coach.
Yeah. Definitely huge shout out to our guy Jeff.
I ain't giving the Dolphins
Dolphin gets all the game balls. Okay.
I'm giving the Dolphins nothing. We gave him the game. We gave him actual balls. We gave him footballs. You don't need a game ball.
Yeah. And also, DK is the truth. I'm telling you, Rob. You know he. You know what? DK should give you a shout out in his Hall of Fame.
Get DK on the pod.
He can do. It's the least he can do.
At least he can say, "I want to thank Rob Cruz for believing in me in November 2020."
And I'm gonna be there when Ryan Tannehill is in the Hall of Fame.
Couch, I need you to clip this for me. I need that clip.
Because we're gonna get that.
I need that clip. I need that couple minutes of when Cruz said that, because to me that needs to be in the internet. We need to make that.
We're gonna and I'm gonna definitely gonna do some edits on this one.
Edit that, send it our way. I need the world. The world. I know people are listening right now, but we need more ears to see, to see and hear what Cruz had to say, and
throw that Fitz magic take in there too.
Oh yeah,
throw them both on there.
Right.
Throw them both on there.
Riverboat Cruz.
Yeah. So Chris, who was your game ball this week?
Oh man, this was tough since y'all all went with DK, and to me that's a good pick because he had a monster game. I'm gonna go with Dalvin Cook though.
Oh, good one.
Man had 4 touchdowns. I think he had over 150 yards rushing, 160 yards rushing, I think. Had a touchdown receive, over 60 yards receiving. He was a monster. Like he put that team on his back. I mean, they're struggling. Kirk Cousins is, that's a show in itself about Kirk Cousins.
You like that?
Yeah, you like that? Yeah. Yes, sir.
Like Cook,
they're paying them $84 million.
Exactly. Like, that doesn't look good either. Like that contract and all that, but that's a whole nother story. But Dalvin Cook was worth every penny they gave him. I know he was worth every penny.
He gets hurt, but man, when he's right, man,
he's gonna miss. Listen, he's gonna miss 2-3 games every season, and that's probably could cost him like maybe a chance to win an MVP or Offensive Player of the Year. Because at this point, at this pace, he could be on that track to be Offensive Player of the Year because he's just killing it. But he gets game ball. They needed that win desperately because I mean they're the most disappointing team in football.
Hands down. I had high expectations.
I mean, I thought they were going to win a division. I thought
them and the Falcons.
And I just thought they had a good football team, good defense, good run game, good weapons outside. And obviously, the quarterback play hasn't been good, but that's a whole other story. But to me, Dalvin, he balled out last year, and he showed why he deserved to get paid. And he's killing it this year so far, and he carried that team against the Packers, and so to me, I'll give the game ball to Dalvin.
And anybody who humbles Aaron Rodgers should get a game ball. I mean,
I
like seeing him sour.
Have you noticed like both games when Aaron Rodgers looks bad, he looks bad. That's not good for them.
Bad.
Yeah,
I love watching him out.
Yeah, so my game ball, and you know what? Great minds think alike. Shout out to my guy, Jeff. Once again, man's got to go to Drew Lock. I think what Drew Lock did yesterday, 3 fourth-quarter touchdowns to lead his team to your tenants, the LA Chargers.
Listen, Steven was almost like he's not a lock guy, but it looked Drew Lock in that start of that game was looking
horrible.
Awful.
Yes.
Awful. I'm like, and I kept thinking like, oh man, they might have benched him. They might bench him. But then he turned it up, and then he made some plays. Lindsey made some plays, and they looked good.
And then the game winning touchdown to KJ Hamler.
They got some good weapons too. Hamilton, Hamler, and they didn't even use Judy that much. Like, and Noah
Sutton. They got
Lindsey. Sutton's out for the season with his ACL. Like that's why I was high on them coming into the year. That's why
me too.
A playoff team because they have
and I said even in that article. In that article, I said
got a bright future.
Right, and I said a franchise quarterback potentially with Drew Lock in this case. So he stepped up and he played. I know, Steven, you've been off it hot and cold with him. I think we all have. I don't think it's just a.
I wasn't ever really hot with them. I've been lukewarm with them at most.
Yeah, you said. Well, you was more so like giving
him time.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
those vibes.
Time, and I think more so. I think we kind of look at him like, okay, he's a franchise quarterback. You're like, well, wait. You putting the brakes on it, but I understand, like but I like what he did in that predicament. So he definitely gets.
No, that was a good game. That was a good game.
Oh yeah, fourth quarter. Yeah, because I thought America's favorite nephew was gonna come out and play. Yeah. But not.
I mean, Herbert though.
Another 17-point lead. Yeah, another blown 17-point lead. That's not good.
That's what
that AFC West though might be the new NFC West in a couple of seasons, man. Like give them about 3-4 seasons.
Yes. Yep. And that's and then you're right. And then because you think about it, that quarterback, Drew Lock, Justin Herbert, and they're gonna be playing Patrick Mahomes semi-annually. Yeah. Well, Carr, or maybe Marcus Mariota. No, let me stop.
I don't think Carr's going to be there long term, though.
He needs to be in a better spot, man. Carr's a good quarterback.
He is.
I think so.
You don't even have to worry about that because at the rate Herbert's going, Atlanta's about to trade for him.
For Carr?
No, for Herbert.
Atlanta's trading for LA
is. What's in that cup you're drinking?
Hey, if he keeps blowing 17-point leads, that's Atlanta's type of quarterback.
Okay. All right.
No. He's fooling. I see where he did. I see what he did.
Yeah, lucky trolling, but it's all good.
Oh, you trolling, bro. I was going to fire you on air.
So if you look at the backdrop of our background, that's SoFi Stadium.
That might be an Overreaction Monday, Chris.
That is Justin Herbert's home.
Fire crews on the air.
Yes.
On Overreaction.
The background of this backdrop or this background of this video is SoFi Stadium. This is Justin Herbert's home. Yeah. He ain't going nowhere. He ain't
Hey,
going nowhere.
We need a segment. You know how like you see like NFL Network, they have like segments where like someone says something, a hot take, and they have its own segment. Every time Cruz and you feel it because sometimes you know it's coming. So we got to like pre-roll it and like, all right, here comes the hot take, and it's like sirens and like here he goes, and then he has his own. He goes 2 minutes and says his hot take of the day. He's got to have a weekly segment, weekly hot take of the week.
I got you.
Because
who's that dude on the
Justin
Start
Herbert ain't
Market
going
channel
nowhere.
that goes crazy and like smashes coffee cups with baseball bats and like has
Yeah,
all those like sound effects? Like,
you
know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about exactly.
Yeah, so man, this is once again another great Overreaction Monday. So I'm gonna go around the horn, man. Where can they find you on social media, Rob?
You already know you can find me on Facebook, Football and Chill Podcast. Same as on Instagram. If you want to know all my hot takes, follow me on Twitter, FNC Pod. I'm gonna start coming out with.
You're gonna get your own page on the website,
and that's my goal.
The hot take.
If I can, real quick, say something before I'm done. The election is tomorrow. No matter who you vote for, no matter who you support, it does not matter. Exercise your right to vote. Some states are allowing same-day registration. If you haven't registered yet, please go out and exercise that right to vote.
Yeah. All right, Steven.
Yes, sir. Well,
where can they find you on social media?
absolutely. Oh, first, Couch, just appreciate you letting me be a late entry here on the show. I appreciate the love. I appreciate talking shop with all you gentlemen. You guys are great. Anytime I get to link up with y'all is a great day for me, man. You can find me on Twitter at StevenBTG. That BTG stands for Breaking the Game, which is a basketball podcast that I co-host with my buddy Austin. I just dropped an episode yesterday where my wife actually was kind of like the joy to my Colin Cowherd on the show. So she got to walk the audience through questions and stuff. And I was actually surprised by like how much she knew about basketball. But it was a great time. It was a short episode, roughly about half an hour. So go check that out. The show Breaking the Game with Stephen Gillespie, you have to search it that way, is available wherever you get your podcasts. You can find the show on Twitter as well at BTG NBA Pod, and that's on Instagram as well. My co-host Austin and I were currently working on player rankings projected for next season. We're going to be doing tiers, not just like number rankings. So we're going to have groups of players all kind of clumped together. And right now I'm working on the art and stuff for it. So it's going to be a fun project. Just stay tuned for that.
Yeah. And Chris, man, I know you guys got a big game, so I want to get you out of here quick as you can. And shock the world, man! Shock the world, beat Tampa Bay tonight. So where they can find you on social media, Chris?
Shock the world, man! This would be a big.
Hey, man!
Hey,
man! It'll be 2020 in a nutshell.
Irrational confidence.
It works both ways for me, right? Because if the Giants get smashed, Tom Brady does well, right? So it's a win-win for me. So But you can find me on Off the Ball Pod on Twitter, Instagram, Off the Ball Podcast on Facebook. You can find Off the Ball Network, obviously OTP_network on Twitter, Off the Ball Network on Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. Just did a podcast today that dropped today on Dash Radio and with my guy Corey Talaba, NBA Draft content monster. And then posted the podcast after that stuff. And then the network stuff is, it's on 1,000, man. Everyone's killing it, and working on that. It's been fun. Everyone's killing it. Everyone's doing dope shows. We added some dope guys to the network, man. We just added the Hoopers. Just added my guy Chris Bolton to the network. So we gaining steam, man. We're trying to make something great here. So. Excited about everything. So follow me there. Follow go off the ballnetwork.com. Follow everyone. Everyone here has done something for the network for pieces. And so make sure you go off the ballnetwork.com and check out all the great articles. Check out, everyone's podcast is there, all the great content. We keep rolling out good stuff. So make sure to check that out for sure.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Don't forget to follow me on Couch Coach Live anywhere, social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, you name it, it's on there. Also, check out my podcast on Off the Ball Network. Then also check out my weekly segment, which I'll be doing my 4 down week previews. So definitely we getting on it, and definitely, man, we here, man, Off the Ball Network, and got some great stuff going on. Our own original shows. See you Sunday.
It's taking off
Like,
more faster than I anticipated, and I honestly I can't do it without you guys. So a shout out to you guys. This I can't do this by myself. It takes a dope team to make this special, and so we're only I think 2.5 months into this thing, and
that's nuts.
We got other networks reaching out and saying, "Yo, how do you guys doing it?" and all this. And to me, it's so dope, and it's just getting started. That's the crazy part. It's just getting started. Like, it feels like we've been doing it for a long time because of COVID and all this. But to think it's only been 2.5 months. Like the 3-month anniversary would be in the 20th, and in 2+ weeks, and we've gotten this far, and it's just gonna keep growing. And so. We got some good things in the horizon, so I'm excited about it.
Yes, indeed. So definitely appreciate you guys for stopping through here on Overreaction Monday. We'll catch you guys next week. Man, this has been Overreaction Monday. We'll check you guys later.
Much love, everybody.